Okay, so step one of this process is to start with chords that exist. So, what I can say is that I will just play some chords and then I'll kind of explain what that means. So, I'm literally just gonna figure out. That's it, like literally. Maybe tweak that a little bit, bring that down a little bit, bring down these overall chords just a little bit, bring them over on grid. I actually like the little like humanization on those. I'll add the clipper preset from Elysium as well, just so things are like nice and loud and powerful. Okay, so what I mean by use chords that exist, like this sounds like a competent chord progression. Particularly, it kind of sounds like something in the vibe of Travis Scott. Like we could even take this and just transpose it actually. So to a key, Travis Scott would probably be more likely to use like B flat minor. That's pretty close to Houston Fornication. It's just got like a little bit of a fill chord at the end. And so when I say use chords that exist, this is literally just a minor chord, a one minor chord, a very basic. That's what that is, right? It's just transposed down a couple of keys. That's it. It's a one minor chord, and then this is like a one major chord. It's that simple. And then I added sevenths on top of that. So like if that doesn't make sense, then my advice for this first step is to maybe stop being childish. I understand that like there's this phenomena of like don't overthink it and music theory doesn't matter and just go with the flow, bro. And I do agree with that. Like trust me, you've seen me posting on like Instagram and community posts and threads and all that. I agree with the philosophy and the overarching concept, but you've got to still know what you're doing if you want to get better. So I'm going to link below a pretty good explainer video, and then if you want to know more, I've got some really good guides on the back end and dope, so check out the link below if you want to learn that. But I'm telling you, being able to just even understand what's going on, being able to name your chords, being able to know that you're not just hoping for the best, and you don't even have to play them like I did. Just knowing you can click in something that's literally competent so you can move on to the next step of this, it gives you so much power as a musician over like basically everybody else, because like 80% of the people in the field and then 80% of the people who watch this simply won't do that. So if you will just go watch the video that I have linked below, 100% free, it's on this channel. I promise you by the end you will have a better understanding of how to do what I just did, and you will be able to use it as a damn party trick for your producer friends because they're not going to be able to do it. So step one is start with chords that exist. Don't be childish. Learn just a smidge of theory. I promise you it will be life changing. The 14 drum kit has a bunch of sounds for my placements, and TV syncs too. Now I'm not entirely sure why you don't have it yet, because it's free, and besides that, it's lifetime updates, and those are 100% free too. And you get access to my 14 letter where I send you free gems on how to actually make money with your beats by being a valuable producer. So here's a nice list of a bunch of other perks you'll get so that we can just get back to the cook up. If you're interested in the sauce, peep the link in the description below. Alright, so step two of this process is understanding that motif is the thing that makes melodies catchy, right? So you could definitely have a melody that's just chords all the way through, and you can really get a lot done with that from many aspects, commercially, creatively. You know, you can get your point across really well with chords, but music starts to get interesting when you have like these catchy repetitive patterns that follow the chord progression. That's called motif. So there's a lot of design and like study and understanding that goes into making motifs. It's pretty much something you have to study the same way you study like the actual notation, like understanding how to name chords. Motifs have names, certain spacings and styles and note lengths of patterns. It's a deep concept, but there's a finesse that the people who made music theory came up with called arpeggiation. It's not as basic as a concept as you think, because even arpeggiation has its own kind of like very deep methodology that you can get into, but it is literally just motif. Like, and it's interesting because arpeggiation is the most common type of motif. And there's many manifestations of arpeggiation, but still the overarching concept of arpeggiation is the most common type of motif, and it's like that for a reason. So if you can really understand what makes it catchy, understand what people use the most to make it catchy, and then get good at using that thing, you will become more powerful than 80% of producers. So what I'm gonna do now is just show you how I would use arpeggio based on what we're doing so far. And so what I'm gonna do is literally just copy the chords, because the motif should follow the chord progression. So I could do a counter melody, I could do like a lead melody or something. Arpeggiation is the most common type of motif, and it's like that for a reason. So it's up to you what you want to do. If you want to make it as hard as possible to try to look cool to other producers, be my guest. This video is not for those people though. So if you made it this far and you're one of those guys, congrats, but I'd click off at this point. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna quantize this. We're gonna legato the length of the notes. And so what we can do to arpeggiate this actually is come into these miscellaneous functions of the instrument and just turn on arpeggiation right here in the channel rack. And then let's increase the time and increase the range. And we could even like clone this piano real quick and just add some bass notes. Like just something simple. Yeah, increase the volume of this. We could even voice the thirds on this. Let's see how that would sound. I like that. So like, you know, when it starts giving you that movement and you start, I don't know how you nod your head when you're alone in the studio, but when you start, you literally can't resist bouncing to it. You know you have a good motif, you know you've got a good art pattern, you can move on to the next step. Step 3 of this is talking about something I had to really learn the hard way in my production, and it's like to avoid using like lead melodies. So I used to say just don't use counter melodies, right? But now I'm more deliberate about saying, whenever people ask me for advice, right, I would be like, don't make lead melodies for your melodies, because, and this is different from a motif and this is different from your chord progression. And the reason I would suggest that is because like the lead melody, giving you advice from what I've heard from artists in the studio, when I bring them over to even my studio here at home, whether I go out there, I send them beats or whatever the situation is, when I interact with actual artists, they're like, the lead melody is just distracting, or like they'll be like, it's hard, but I can't hear myself on it. I send the same beat back with no lead melody, and all of a sudden it's a placement, or all of a sudden it's a sale, or all of a sudden they're like, send me more. And I'm like, what changed? I just got rid of that lead melody. Tangentially, I noticed it's very similar with 808s, because I have a tendency to do the singing 808s where a lot of the melody is happening with the 808. That simulates a lead melody, which can be distracting to the artist. So it's very case by case when you want to do stuff like that. But even when you're doing more instrumental stuff, it can be very distracting to the listener, which pulls them out of the experience, makes them want to skip your song, makes them want to go listen to something that's more sonically pleasing. So what I like to do instead, to add a little bit more embellishment to my melodies, instead of going for a lead, is I just add like accents and flourishes. And so what I like to do is I'll start with like some pads, honestly, and I'll literally just copy the chord progression. So I can just take this and paste it in there. But maybe if I wanted to sound more like an accent, maybe I don't use all the chords. I just use maybe just the fifths. By the way, I called these seventh chords. I don't think they are. They're just the regular triads with the octave notes on top. I called it a seventh. It wasn't even a seventh. So like, there you go. It's so simple to do. It's not even like a complicated thing. But anyway, yeah, I'm going to use the fifths of these chords. I was literally like looking like, wait, bro, this isn't even a seventh chord. And that's dope. That's the first thing I picked. I'm probably gonna go with that. And then you can add effects. Like here, let me just add some effects real quick to show you like what I would do to sauce this up. Like maybe I do something like that. And then we can go to like the March Madness multi-kit, add the God's Room reverb. That's already sounding crazy. Then we could maybe add like a gross beat preset. And we could put even more reverb, like Lux Verb. Maybe let's change the pad and see what it'll sound like with something different. That's sounding hard. Maybe a little bit of compression to like glue all the effects together. Like really compress the heck out of it. And then I'm actually gonna just add a bass line really quickly. I didn't even think to do that, but it just needs one, bro. I'm gonna clone this real quick. Take it off that first track, and then I'm literally gonna copy this bass line from the piano, and then I'm just gonna find a bass and expand. That's hard. So for this last step, I want to kind of talk about how I arrange by melody, which people tell me they don't get what I mean when I say that. Rarely will there be a section anywhere in the arrangement where like every single melody I made is being played. So, and sometimes I'll have like, you know, it gets deep, like 16 layers or something. Like sheesh, like I'm not gonna have all that on there. So this is kind of like the ideology methodology I've kind of developed, but like a lot of producers kind of already do this, and you probably, if you're a little bit more adept, you probably already do this without having like a terminology for it. But I want to talk through it for the homies that don't understand. So basically I have this little drum bounce here. I'm gonna let you hear it, and then I'm gonna show you how I would arrange using this melody to make it sound interesting without doing anything to the drum. So let me just let you hear it real quick. Super hard. So basically what I'm thinking about now is like, how long is it gonna be? So for one, I want to do 4 8-bar sections for 32 bars total, and the first thing I'm gonna do is just come here and see like, what do I want to get started with right off the bat. Probably just, it sounds dope with that piano, and mind you, I don't have any effects going or anything. So, and then maybe we can bring, that's hard. So then maybe for that second arp, we take that whole thing up an octave and then get rid of the piano. With that pad coming in like that, that's hard. And then we get rid of the drums for this section, and then we have that bass come in. Right, I got rid of the wrong thing, but basically the same idea, right? So right here we have that pad going on with no bass. Wait, where's that bass? My bad, I'm tripping. Do I want that piano bass? It's kind of quiet. Better. Maybe make that bass a little louder. And then something I might do to like make the arrangement seem interesting without having to do something new is I'll come here and I'll route this into a track so I can do it, but I'll just open up like some kind of time manipulation. If it doesn't crash, killing me here, man. Give me a second. There we go. So we have that on there. I'm gonna go back to that last 8-bar section to see what it sounds like. Yeah, just like that. And then we could even bring the drums in, and then we could just do some automation on that 808 just to like hear it real quick. So what we could do, boom, like that, copy that, boom, make a new automation clip right here, paste, boom, make a new one right there, boom, drag that down like that, and then boom. So without any drums or anything, no effects, we like sauced up the entire arrangement. Then you could add effects. You could even sauce up the arrangement even more. So I actually have an amazing arrangement full guide in Dope, and I have an amazing mixing guide that we just dropped. It was like a full, it was deep. It was deep. So shout out to all the homies in Dope. They are the reason I'm able to make this content on this channel 100% free, and why you never see any corny sponsorships on any of the videos that I've made in like a really long time. So big shout out to every single member of Dope. I love you guys. If you want to learn more about how you can join my label and get a bunch of cool stuff, check out the first link in the description below. I'm out to go work on more videos for you right now. I love you. Thank you so much for watching. Peace.